What is up? Welcome to another episode of the Hoof Live podcast. I am your host, Sterling, joined by Anthony over there on the other side.
Hey,
with my guy, Eric, on the bottom. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing tonight?
What's happening? I feel like, Sterling, I don't know why you copy my style each week.
I know you got
the red beanie last week.
The backwards white hat now.
So first of all, let's if we're talking about a fashion trendsetter here, we're talking about me. So
Mr. Calvin Klein over there. I see it.
Who had their clothes on first, dog?
I was wearing Carhartt.
Eric was probably up first.
But hey,
a little housework.
Look, I appreciate it though. I appreciate the notion. You know, we got the Fonz over here with the white T-shirt on. Anthony,
little chest hair showing. I see it.
What do you mean? You got the same get up every
week. You know?
Same get up every week. It's the same.
Anthony looks like he's about to go hit a vending machine.
Get some Lay's.
Oh man. So look, welcome to all the fans. Look, you are listening to the Cover One Network. This is the network that we rep. Every single day we have stuff going on. We have great content creators giving you the best, the latest and the greatest Bills news. We are killing the game right now. So if you haven't followed, liked, or subscribed to Cover One and subscribe to the Hoof Live, make sure you do so. And by doing that, we really do appreciate everything that you guys, the fans, do for us. So with that being said, let's throw some shout outs in here, okay? Because there's a bunch of y'all in here right now. Dustin, what's up, man? Dustin is flexing. Ooh. He says, I really think the Bills thumped them homos at Arrowhead Stadium. Okay, that's what we're doing tonight. Okay,
the whole family.
The whole family, apparently. What's up, Eric? Reptile, what's good? What's good? Reptile is he's an Aussie. My guy is an Aussie, okay? Shout out to him. Vlad is in the house, man. Go Bills. Spin, it says, for all those who thought Josh Allen cannot play in the cold weather, this game is proof that you are, in fact,
Amora.
A dummy.
We'll put it nicely.
A dumbass.
Yeah.
The Hoof, the H is silent for the Pats. Okay. Coming in with that fire.
Good stuff.
Roman.
Nice.
Good stuff. Roman says Anthony is the prophet. Now that's
right, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't do it. Y'all don't provoke this man, okay?
Nailed it. Hello. Nobody wanted to listen to me on the Friday show and on our show. I said multiple things that were 100% on the bullseye on this, game.
My guy Puka says gang. What's goody? What is goody? Oh, Jessica Tennis is up here tonight. It was nice listening to the Pats fan cry. Yo, there was so much.
Can't blame this one on an interception that should have happened, or the referees. No, you got your butt kicked. All right,
it's their first time. Give them a break.
Yeah.
Hey,
they don't know what to do. They're just crying.
we got a super chat. So Vlad says, hey, let's give Anthony a round of applause for being 100% right about the Bills whipping the floor with the Patriots. Now, I'll say this. Good job, Anthony. But this is also the same Anthony Romeo that thinks the Bills are going to do that to every single opponent every week. So
that's really not true, Sterling. You're on this show every week. How the fuck can you say that? That's just ignorant. I don't do that every week. I'm not doing that this week versus Kansas City. I didn't do that the week of any of the last 3 games. So you're wrong. 38-10 was my prediction, and I said that was modest, and it was. I told you they would score on every drive, and they did. No, I thought they were going to get at least a couple field goals in there, but scoring on every drive. I told you that they would bait the rookie quarterback into throwing deep so that they could get interceptions, and that happened. Everything I told you happened.
This is the button being pushed.
So believe it. You hear the listeners over there telling you it too. And I'm gonna nail it with this game with Mahomes as well. So then next Tuesday you'll have something else to say.
So Anthony the Prophet is gonna call this game this weekend.
That's right.
Hey, this week, Anthony, this week, run with it, buddy.
That's right. There's no denying that everything I said came true in this game. The Patriots did not belong in this game. They did not belong in the playoffs at all. We kicked their ass for a reason. We were the better team every way around, and I was sick of hearing Bills 24-20 or 19-17.
Easy.
What game are you watching? We're way better than that. This is way better than that. And it just makes it even sweeter because it was against the Patriots.
All right, so I love it. Yes, Jason Taylor says button pushed. Yes, it's Anthony has been activated. See, you guys in the chat, you guys need to chill because getting him going like this, it's just
it's early in the show, right?
It's early in the show, man. We got lots to talk about tonight. So with that being said, fellas, why don't we go ahead? Let's go ahead and get into this show, man. First thing I want to do, it's only fair that we talk about the other playoff games. Cincinnati beats the Vegas Raiders. Burrow. I just got to put Burrow there. Burrow was great. The referees, not so much. Now, there's something to be said about the referees screwing your game, but if there's any fan base to screw, it's kind of funny that it's the Raiders. They always get screwed in the playoffs, right? We talk about with Brady, right? The tuck rule.
Yeah.
Now this. I mean, the Raiders just get constantly screwed.
The Whistlegate game, is that what this is going to be? The Whistlegate game?
Right. And the NFL came out and said they screwed it up. So, man, sorry, Raiders. I look, but Cincinnati hadn't won a playoff game in 31 years or something like that. It's been so long. It's kind of cool to see a team come up like that. They got dynamic playmakers on offense. Their defense is not very good. But they face off against King Henry and these Tennessee Titans coming up this weekend. So that'll be a good matchup to see Burrow. I think Burrow's a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill by far. But I think it's going to come down to what defense can get the most stops, really, because Cincinnati's defense is not very good. But I want to hear what you guys have to think about that game. Anthony, we'll start with you. Eric, we'll have you finish on this.
Well, it was quite the game. I mean, I expected more out of Vegas, actually. I thought there were a couple drives they could have finished a little stronger. Cincinnati's defense isn't amazing to speak of. Their offense, certainly potent, but their defense, I was kind of expecting more. Vegas came in very hot. Their last 4 or 5 games, they were really playing competitively, stepping up when it counted the most. So there was a few times in this game that I thought Vegas had the momentum and could have taken it to the next level, but didn't. They settled for a field goal on their second to last drive in the red zone when I thought they should have gone for the touchdown, right? Mm-hmm. Get that touchdown first, then you're only down by a field goal or whatever it was, and you still needed another score. But I thought they should have gone for it there, and actually they did drive down again and could have kicked a field goal, but missed it on 4th down. So you never know with that scenario, but I was kind of saying they're being kind of conservative here. They're not finishing drives. They're really shooting themselves in the foot. And credit goes to Cincy. Don't get me wrong. They played well. And Joe Burrow, like you said, amazing and definitely looking like he's going to be a top level quarterback in this league for a long time. And it's fun. It's fun to see that, and it's fun to see some of his awesome throws and say, wow, he's really looking good. And we know about their offense. They have a good run game. They've got 2 great receivers. It's pretty good to see. So, the better team won probably, but in the fashion that they did with the whole blown whistle gate thing, players stop when they hear the whistle. Whistle was blown. Ball was still in the air. Ball is caught in the end zone. Oh, wait, it's a touchdown. And then, as the announcers in the game talked about, it's all about, did they actually review the sound as well as the video? And I don't know that New York or whoever's in charge of that does that when they're reviewing the tape. So it's interesting. It's going to bring up a debate this offseason. It is. This was very controversial, probably the most controversial thing to happen in the playoffs so far. And something's going to change because of this. But the outcome probably may not have changed. The line would have, which is really what I was upset about, because I took the Raiders +6 and they lost by 7. So, it's a tough loss that way on the betting side.
All right. So, Eric, what you got, man?
I'm not sure if that's why the Raiders lost, is because of the refs, right? It's an easy storyline.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a mistake there, but I mean, Joe Burrow made a good play. I mean, blowing the whistle. Did the corner quit on the play? It's really hard to tell because the whistle was kind of later in the play. So, I mean, it's debatable. The real reason they lost, I think, is because of the strip sack fumble, which Cincinnati capitalized on.
Right. That
and
was
they had
early
no
on,
answer for
first half.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
The Raiders battled back.
Yards, yeah.
I mean, they're definitely missing Henry Ruggs. I think early in the season, the Raiders offense was really reliant on him being either a distraction. I mean, you're pushing defenses back, right? So you could run the ball better. I mean, Henry Ruggs does that for a team with that speed, his threat on the big play. Without him, I think the Raiders are kind of lost. But I mean, on the last play of the game, you don't throw the ball to Zay Jones. Okay. Darren Waller should have been the guy who gets the ball in that situation, in my opinion.
He didn't get the ball enough.
He didn't get the ball enough. He's the best player on the field, and they didn't capitalize on that enough, in my opinion. So kudos to Cincinnati. I think they said only 4 players on the team were alive the last time they won a football game or a playoff game. So that says a lot, right? It's their time. We know what it's like to be in a drought and being, ridiculed like that. So it's good to see them, get over it. I think there's fans crying in the stands. Like, we know what that's like. So fun game, and like you said, Joe Burrow, I think he has a great future in the NFL. It's just, can he stay healthy? And that's really the questions with him. But he's definitely in that conversation of top quarterback.
Yeah, no, and it was a fun game. I mean, I was waiting, I was waiting for that game to be over so the Bills could play. But I was rooting for the Bengals to win that game. I mean, the Raiders have been through a lot this season, so you're kind of sad for them in a sense, right? Because they didn't get it done, but they had plenty of opportunities. There was points to be left on the board. Their defense needs to be better, but so and then they just cleaned house, right? They got rid of their coach. They got rid of Mike Mayock, who I hope goes back to NFL Network. That would be fantastic. But they cleaned house today or yesterday, so they're going to be turning over a new page, a new chapter. We don't know what that means for Derek Carr and some of these other guys. So another rebuild is about to take place. So rest in peace to the Raiders. I don't know when the next time you'll see the playoffs again. Tampa. There's not much to talk about here.
No.
Tom Brady, surgical. Jalen Hurts there was not. They weren't going to let you run. I mean, this is the best running defense in the NFL, and everybody knew it going in. They tried it. They couldn't get anything going on the ground. Jalen Hurts is not the most dynamic passer. And they just had no answers. They definitely lack receiving options outside of Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. That's about it. Outside of that, they got an aging defense. So yeah, they had no answer for the Tampa Bay Bucks. You guys have any comment on that?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Yes, you hate to see it, but Philly didn't belong in the playoffs either, and I think if you watch the games, you know that they're an upcoming team. They definitely outplayed, most people's predictions, but they really did not belong, especially against Tampa. I mean, you're talking about one of the best teams in the NFL against a team that didn't belong in the playoffs. So the expected outcome here
for Philly, though. I mean, I think going into the season, I thought this team would win 5 games, right? So I think this certainly is a successful season for them. First-year head coach, and they have what, 3 first-round picks, 2 first-round picks.
They got 3 first-round picks, I believe.
And I'm not sure about the quarterback. I would say Jalen Hurts showed a lot this year. He exceeded my expectations. I thought for sure that he would, lack in the passing game a little, but he definitely has some ability in the run game. I mean, is quarterback in the conversation for them? Going to be interesting to see moving forward, but. The next question is, can Tampa beat Green Bay? That's my conversation.
Is that going to be the matchup, though? Tampa
I will now be rooting
for.
I will now be rooting for any team that I think can beat Tampa Bay.
Well, that's the Rams this weekend.
Green Bay,
they will.
Rams. Right. I know, but moving forward, I don't know if it's the Rams.
I'm picking the Rams.
Okay, and we gotta talk about this. San Francisco, man, I predicted this one to beat Dallas. Dak Prescott usually is a guy that's very composed. He's very complimentary of people, but in a presser after the game, he didn't speak so highly of the referees. He's trying to blame the rest for the way they spotted the ball and all this. Where you're going to do a quarterback draw, you should have went down a lot sooner. Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
You had a lot of opportunities to put points on the board, and you guys didn't as a whole. The defense, I mean, everybody wants to go off on the defense. They gave up 23 points. I mean, but who has the Cowboys beaten outside of the NFC East? Really, they really haven't beaten anybody. So Mike McCarthy's to blame. He kind of has the Andy Reid syndrome with the late game clock management. Andy Reid used to struggle with, I don't know if you guys remember, with late situational football, and it looks like Mike McCarthy is just taking the mantle, man. He's like, hold my beer, Andy Reid, because I'm about to f this up. And he sure did. So who's to blame? Who is the blame in Dallas? Is it Prescott and the offense, or do you blame Mike McCarthy? Somebody's got to take the blame here.
Oof, all of them? I mean, it's from the top down. You start with the owner, then the coach, then the quarterback, and the offense and the team. I mean, Zeke is supposed to be the star. He has not been that. He's the second best running back on his team this year. And it's a difficult situation in Dallas. They have high expectations. They've got high salaries. They've thought they were going to be better all the way around. They got the best rookie defender one of them, Micah Parsons probably. And then, also Diggs, right? So you've got amazing young talent and well-balanced with veterans. On paper, this should be a good team. Should have easily won the East, and they did not get that momentum going during the year. And that starts with leadership. So it's, again, Jerry Jones, it's McCarthy, first and foremost, those two. And you're not changing Jerry Jones anytime soon. So, I mean, what's going to change? Your coach, and then they're going to bring in somebody else for Jerry Jones to bitch at and make headlines and cause turmoil with. So I don't know that their problem is going to be fixed anytime soon. And they have the worst stat ever about playoff wins in the divisional round. And yeah, it's been rough as the Cowboys franchise since their Super Bowl days. But yeah, there's plenty of blame to go around here. I love this outcome because it keeps my preseason prediction of San Francisco Buffalo at large. And that's another thing here. Dallas is the type of team that they need to score 50 points to win the game. Their defense can make big plays, but they also give up a lot of points. And in this game, you're facing the San Francisco defense. You're not going to score 50 points. And their offense looked like that. Like, oh my God, we're playing a good defense. What do? We don't know how to do this. When you have playmakers like CeeDee Lamb and the receivers are good, and it's tough. I don't know. It's tough to be a Dallas fan right now. Yeah. There's no easy answer. It's not like, oh, get this position and you'll be better. I don't know.
It's Eric, tough because I think it's the coaching staff has to be to blame. The game plan, I didn't really like. I mean, Nick Bosa destroyed that offensive line. They had no answers for him, and yet they're still trying to throw the ball deep. It's long routes. Dak needs a lot of time to, sit in the pocket so the play can develop. When you're playing it, when Nick Bosa's on the other side of the field, you got to do short, in routes or screen plays or anything to offset that aggressive line. And I just didn't see that from them. It's the same game that Dallas always tries to go with. Like, I get it. Dak Prescott's a good quarterback, right? They want to throw the ball 50 times a game, every single game. But Dak, I think if you lower that down to 30, you get Zeke Elliott rolling. I think that's a better game plan. You just didn't see that in this game. Like, they had 5 sacks. San Francisco had 0 on their quarterback. I mean, 35% third down efficiency for Dallas. I mean, that's just not going to get it done in the playoffs. And they're too talented not to win these games. They're too talented. That receiving core is arguably top 5 in the league. You have Zeke Elliott.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a good team. And
it's hard to find
I blame the coaching staff. I didn't like the offensive game plan.
Yeah, it's hard to find excuses. And speaking of the offensive line, I mean, you have a really good offensive line. Mm-hmm. You have to do a better job of containing a Bosa. Now, Bosa's always hurt. Like, he even got a concussion in this game. Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, you pay Dak Prescott all that money. Dak's got to make more plays. I'm sorry, but he does, right? And he just didn't do enough. He just didn't do enough for me. He doesn't move the needle. I don't think he's worth the contract that they paid him. Like, because you look at guys like Mahomes, Allen, those guys are top, grossing quarterbacks in the NFL, and they show you why.
Trending upwards. Yeah, right.
I look at Dak and I'm like, is he as good as he's gonna get? Which is good, but man, for the amount of money that he's garnering on that contract, and as amount of money that Jerry Jones has to fork out each and every year, man, and they still don't they have nothing to show for it.
Yeah,
you're in one of the worst divisions in the NFL, and you can't.
I think that's part of the problem, right? They look better than they are sometimes when they're scoring 50 points against the Eagles and all that, but against reliable defensive opponents like San Francisco, you score 17. I mean, that's just not going to cut it in competitive NFL games in 2022. Right. So it's difficult to, like you said, put your finger on what the problem is, but it makes you appreciate even more guys like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, right? We know Josh Allen is the reason we win. We put it on his back no matter what. If we're in a tough game, it's on Josh Allen, right? Dak Prescott, not as confident. I mean, he's good enough to do it, but are you confident he's going to do it? No. Right. Whereas Josh Allen, he's going to get it done with his legs, with his arm. He's going to put it all on the field, and he's going to find a way, and might come up short every once in a while, but 9 times out of 10, you're confident he's going to do it. Whereas Dak, you're like, it's 50-50. Is he good enough today? Is he going to be that ace that we know he can be, accurately throwing the ball? Or is he going to crumble under pressure, get sacked, and hang in the pocket too long and do a running play with 20 seconds left and slide and try and get set up, which was really, like you said, that was Dak's problem, in my mind at least. You call that weird play. I mean, just throw the ball away. What does running up the gut do for you? Nothing in that situation. So, anyway, that's another story.
Yeah, it's another situation where they're blaming the refs, but actually the team lost the game.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I got a super chat there. OG Brooklyn. I don't know if you saw that, Sterling.
Yes. Hold on. Let me pull it up here. There we go. It says, OG Brooklyn says, my guys just showing love. # Mafia. 17 is locked in. We running the table.
So.
Greatest football game of my life.
It was, man. Bills running the table. I don't know, man. Now, Anthony's going to tell you that the Bills are going to play that way the entire duration.
That's not true. That is not true. That is not true. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that coming up later in the show.
I'm gonna let you address the super chat here, man. You go ahead, Anthony.
It's saying run the table. It's tough. That's what we have to do. That's what the goal is. You're running the table. You want to win the Super Bowl. Absolutely. Was 17 locked in? Hell yes. In this game, he looked absolutely electric. And not only is it, this was an amazing game. This was a perfect game. This is literally pinnacle history. Never happened before in recorded NFL stats. Perfect game, all touchdowns. Nothing bad happened on offense. I mean, it was unbelievable to think about. And you better believe that we are going to be happy with that enough, but it's time to move on too, right? We're getting ready for the next game and the next opponent, and this is our toughest matchup by far this weekend. After that, moving forward, I don't care who you pick from the NFC. I don't care who wins the other game. This is the toughest matchup for the Bills this week against Kansas City. So that's the bump in the road that you got to get over.
So Josh Allen had a 157.6.
Hold on, because we're going to get into that.
Well, I'm just curious to know, how do you get a 158?
Yeah, it was
the only reason.
He had 17.
4
the only reason he didn't get the 158.3 is because he didn't average 12.5 yards per attempt or something like that. 12.6 yards per attempt.
What did he have? 11.6.
Nah, he was 12. It was 12. I think it was like 12.2 or 12.3. Yeah,
I feel like they're just close. Like, Josh, we're just going to give you 157. That's been the story of his career so far.
Yeah. Hey,
yeah, right. Not a Pro Bowler, though. Not a Pro Bowler.
Not a Pro Bowler, so you can't get that 158 without being a Pro Bowler.
Did y'all see this, man?
Yes.
What? Look. Did y'all? It's 4 minutes and 4 seconds left in the game. Why is my girl crying like this, man?
She already knows.
She already knew. She already knew what was happening, man. That's the Cowboys right there. Rooting for the Cowboys like having an extremely hot girlfriend, and when she talks, you're like, "Oh, you just looks, baby. You ain't got nothing else going on. No character. You just arm candy. That's it, man. That's the Dallas Cowboys." But oh, girl, 4 minutes left. Like she just knew like that. Dak ain't shit. Cowboys ain't shit. we gonna lose. It's just she's getting all the feels, man. She's got all the feels. It just didn't happen. But all right, let's keep it moving. Oh, and by the way, we do have a special guest on for tonight, Ron Kopp, a friend of mine from Arrowhead Pride. He's going to be on the Talk Bills Chiefs with us here at the top of the hour. So in about 30 minutes, my guy Ron will be in here, and we're going to chop it up about the Chiefs and the Bills. All right, so here's something I want to remaining playoff power ranking. So, we are all fans of the Herd, right? And I saw this today, and I'm like, yo, why are the Bills the fifth best team on this list? You mean, when he was doing it, I'm like, all right, like the Bills at least got to be third or fourth. But they
got to be ahead of Tennessee, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If you want to go on like past practice, okay, Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl. Kansas City was in the Super Bowl. Green Bay has Aaron Rodgers. You could see those arguments. But Tennessee, just because they beat the Bills by 3 points when the Bills, basically blew it on the 3-yard line. No, Tennessee they're not as good as the Bills. Sorry.
Okay, so speaking of Tennessee, I think the Bengals can absolutely beat Tennessee this weekend.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's going to be a competitive game. Even the line, even Vegas thinks so. So, yeah, it's close. Man. And I agree with everything Eric just said. I would put the Bills no less than 4 on that, and you could probably make an argument for 3. Maybe even it depends on where you rank, teams like Tampa Bay. At this point right now, I'd probably put the Bills above Tampa Bay. But if you're looking at the whole season, and where they are and the experience from last year, Tampa's probably up there. You can rank them above the Bills. I'm not going to be opposed to that.
I don't get how they measure power rankings anyway. This power rankings,
exactly.
What does that even mean?
It's his opinion.
That's who he likes. Yeah, exactly. Who he likes the best out of the teams.
You got to go with the Bills, though. Yeah. After that game.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I don't care who the opponent is, right?
Again, how many of those goddamn media people were saying 24-20, 1970?
Well,
half of them picked New England to win the game.
7 touchdown drives.
Yeah.
My God, Brian
no
Bowers.
punts. I mean, you just come on. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. That's a perfect football game. You just don't see that. Yeah. And then you got the number 1 defense in the league. Come on. Power rankings are done.
We got another super chat here. Walter Scales says, Allen's first touchdown, great throw or the worst throwaway ball ever. You decide. So I'll take this one, fellas. So when you're in the pocket for 9+ seconds, I don't care. It's like the football gods just gave it to Josh Allen. That's what they did. They said, you know what? You evaded a pass rush for 9 seconds, not throwing a Hail Mary, bro. I'm going to give you a touchdown pass. So what happened was Josh Allen threw the pass, and the football gods just pushed the ball down with the wind into Dawson Knox's hands. And that was the beginning of it, bro. That's my take on it.
I mean, the truth is that Josh Allen always tries to find somebody before throwing it away. He's smart enough to throw it where the guy's going to catch it or it's going to be out of, thrown away. And that's what he did in that play with Dawson Knox. Don't forget, just a couple weeks ago, he did that and it was tipped and intercepted at the goal line. So, it doesn't always work out that way when he's going all the way to the sideline and then throwing across trying to find somebody. But in this case, it definitely worked out. And I fully believe that he was intending it to be in the area where Knox could catch it or it would go out of bounds.
But
we picked, right? So
yeah. If it got tipped again, that's
the
a possibility.
The patience. I mean, it looked like he completely stopped and then threw the ball. I'd say it was intentional, not a throwaway.
I would say more confidence is the thing there. Even though he's done it, even though the last time he did it and it was tipped and intercepted, he still wasn't afraid to be that close to the sideline, throwing across 3 guys and find an open receiver. So
he wasn't even trying to do. He even told you it was throw. And look at it, he wasn't even looking. My guy was just. You ever see those movies where they're like kids movies where they're sports or this basketball, football, and the person that's in the movie, no matter what they do, it goes in or just like craziness like that. That's what it was like on Saturday night. Like
Space
no matter,
Jam 3.
Bro, it was going in. Like Josh Allen could have thrown it behind his back,
and somebody was catching it.
I mean, that's what it felt like. And so so now we're in the part where, let's get into this Bills game, because that's what you guys are all here for. We're going to talk about the Chiefs here in a little bit. But let's get into the ass shellacking that was the playoff game on Saturday night. So before we do that, if you haven't liked, followed, subscribed to Cover One and the Hoof podcast, I'm going to need you to do so, because what's about to come out of my mouth into your ears is about to be fire, okay? We are about to bring that heat, because we've been holding our enthusiasm, all day, getting ready for this show. Like, I didn't want to talk to these dudes. I didn't want to talk to them after the game, because I wanted to save it all right here, right now, because I'm pumped. So, before the game, okay, Saturday morning, right? I don't know if y'all slept on Friday night. I sure the hell didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sleep much Friday night. It's my son's birthday, Anthony's birthday, Eric Quinn on the network's birthday, Anthony Marino. I mean, everybody's got a birthday this past weekend. So you're feeling good, right? Saturday morning, my guy Spence, he does this Twitter Spaces thing, and he has some guys from Pat's Pulpit on there. Okay, so we're all in there kicking it, talking Bills, blah, blah, blah. There's fans in there, whatever. And you just to hear, like, the Patriots fan base, how they actually think of the Bills and what they thought of this game, they literally thought that they had a chance. They thought they had a chance. So imagine being a Patriots fan. You think Mac Jones is baby Tom. Baby, wee little 5 ounce, 5 pound, 6 ounce, baby Tom Brady.
Oh, God.
Coming into the Ralph, thinking you're going to win a game. And get absolutely hornswoggled by the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, yeah.
And hold on, it gets better.
I know exactly how that feels, because I thought EJ Manuel could go to Foxborough and win.
Look at this. This is not photoshopped. We didn't make this up. This is on national television.
That's right.
Anthony, what do you see there? You see 7 drives, 7 touchdowns.
That's right. Perfect. I said the Bills would score on every single drive. I did not predict a touchdown on every single drive, because we know, the Bills have struggled in the red zone. I figured at least 2 of them would be field goals, and but this was an absolute beatdown. Josh Allen came out to play. The team, the offense, the play calling was absolutely elite. Everything worked. Everything came out working. And the bottom line, as you heard me say on Tuesday, as you heard me say again on Friday, the Patriots are the inferior team by far in every single position in this game. There is not one position that I feared the New England Patriots at. And when you're talking about a regular football game, any other time of the year, you would be like, well, of course the Bills are going to blow them out. They're not even any good at any other position, and their strengths play against the Bills. What are they going to do, run the ball again? Not when we're playing at the level we are with our defense. Not with Josh Allen playing the way he was. I said on Friday, this is a rookie quarterback. I mean, come on. Use your common sense. It's a rookie quarterback playing in his first ever playoff game against the number 1 defense of the year. I take the team names away from it, and any other analyst would be like, this guy's going to get his ass kicked, period. He's playing the number 1 defense. He's a rookie quarterback. I don't care if you're the best rookie quarterback ever, as they said about Mac Jones at one point. You're still going to get your ass kicked. And then you put on top of that our offense and their quote-unquote top 5 defense that we absolutely tore apart. We picked and pulled, and every play worked. Every play worked. So that defense that's supposed to be, what else did I say? Bill Belichick praised and gloried for his defensive prowess. You can't invent defense. I made the quote on Friday when we were on the Cover One kickoff special for the playoffs. I said, have you seen the commercial? Have you seen the commercial where they bring the baby out on the field and they're like, is that a baby? And he's rocking the baby and then they snap the ball or whatever. And that's what I was comparing Bill Belichick to. He can't do that. He can't just invent deep. He tried everything he could against Josh Allen, and it didn't work. And that should have been, everybody saw that before this game and still thought they were going to do well. There's nothing else they can try.
You ever seen Sesame Street? Y'all know how they do the word and number for the day.
Today's number is 47.
47.
The Hoof podcast is sponsored by the number 47.
If anybody wants to, I dare somebody here to do a super chat for $47.
In honor of the 47 points that Josh Allen got.
Listen, buddy, that was a shellacking.
Biggest ass kicking I've seen ever.
What you got on this?
Anthony nailed it, right? It's the difference is Josh Allen. I mean, they had no answer for his abilities, right? Throwing the ball, like you said, he couldn't miss. Running the ball, couldn't miss. I mean, they were just frustrated all day. We all saw the play with Matt Judon was confused. He just makes your head spin on defense. Belichick, I mean, he ran out of ideas last time they played in Foxborough. Came up with new ideas and still had no answers.
There are no new ideas.
The difference, though, is Josh Allen.
Yes. Absolutely.
A little bit of Micah Hyde. But
a little bit. Yeah, defense was good, obviously.
When Josh is on like that, there's no better quarterback in the league. Period. When he's hot, there's no other quarterback in the league. Does he have his cold games? Certainly. But when he is on, I mean, this guy is just an incredible athlete. I've never seen a quarterback do what he can do, right? Pinpoint accuracy, good decision-making, and he's fast. Oh, and he's 240 pounds. I mean, come on. Has there ever been a quarterback like Josh Allen in the league history? Get real.
No, it's not. With his ability to run and pass, still the media likes to say, oh, well, he runs a lot. Well, that's because he can at an elite level more so than any other running quarterback. Lamar Jackson might be a better running quarterback, but he cannot do what Josh Allen can do when he's running the ball.
And
he cannot stiff arm guys, juke guys the way he does. And my favorite storyline. So this is the point. We're talking about what went well in this game and where the deficiencies were and how we played better. You know what we learned from this game? Absolutely nothing. That's my point. That was my frustration coming into this. Everything that happened was what we knew coming into this game, and yet still the national media, some people on this network, other networks, all the Bills talking heads thought the game was going to be close. Why? Because they still feared the New England Patriot name and Bill Belichick's face. Well, guess what, people? My favorite narrative from this entire thing is that is now dead and buried. It is gone. If you say anything about Bill Belichick being a mastermind of defense or the New England Patriots next season, you are an idiot, and I will call you out for it personally. So anybody in Bill's Mafia, anybody on Twitter, I'm telling you right now, if you even for a second say you fear the New England Patriots, then I'm going to throw this game in your face and tell you are absolutely wrong, because it is dead and buried.
It's 20 years,
dead
folks.
And buried.
20 years of frustration.
Dead and buried.
Let it out, buddy. Let it out.
What they say, this is a safe place. You can come here and just get it all out. Okay.
I'm glad you're talking for me, because that's me on the inside, but I just don't show emotion. So thank you for that.
Eric, Eric, listen, I don't know if y'all know this, but Eric has my man has PTSD when it comes to the Patriots, man.
Right. It's over now.
We could not get Eric to talk smack about the Patriots. I don't care what you say, man. He's gonna come back with some. Well, they do have Bill Belichick.
They'll fumble a punt return. They'll fumble a.
They'll probably return. Tom Brady will come at halftime impersonate as Mac Jones and just beat the Bills. Yeah. That's where Eric was at.
I got scars. It's just they take a while to heal.
Done. Now it's done. It's over. No more. The Patriots don't even exist anymore. They are just as much our bitch as the Dolphins are at this point. All right. So they can suck it.
Okay. Hey. And just for the record, Anthony was the one throwing the rubber article onto the field.
Yeah. No, that was our buddy Joe Miller. Remember, we talked about that earlier in the season. Sterling and I put out a tweet, if those of you saw it, saying I tagged, added
finally
Joe Miller. It happened because we talked about it happening in Tampa Bay. We were talking about it at the Tampa Bay game at Tom Brady, but it was a few games later, but it actually happened. Very hysterical moment, though.
So, okay, so now we got the emotion part of the game out. Anthony so eloquently put that out there for us, man. But what Josh Allen, some of the things that I was impressed with by Josh Allen, and first of all, let's kind of let's talk about the narrative here. So you hear a lot of people talk about, well, Josh Allen is so inconsistent. He's so erratic. He has very high highs and very low lows. And I think that's not completely fair. When you look into the scope of this season, there was a lot of things that Josh Allen had to overcome. For one of them, how many good weather games were there in Buffalo this year? I mean, if you had to say the football gods were involved in the Bills season this year, you would have to point to the weather. The Bills did not have great weather games this year. Even the home opener, which I attended, was overcast and ugly.
Windy.
Typically, for those of you who live there, I don't, but I just watch it. Okay. It's pretty nice on opening day. Sun's out, beautiful summer day. And it just looked like crap. And so you can go through every Bills home game this year and look at it and go, damn, look what he had to endure. The offensive line hasn't played well enough until just now.
Ryan Bates,
the last 5 weeks have started to actually play. You had, I don't know if it was Mr. Frosty the Snowman who ordered that freaking wind and snowstorm that for the first Patriots game. I mean, you can go through every Bills home game and be like, yo, the conditions were ideal.
The Indy game you didn't even bring up. I was at that game with the downpour and the rain. Oh, it was gross and wet.
Now,
terrible.
Right. And so, yeah, Josh Allen can be inconsistent at times, just like every quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is not always on. Patrick Mahomes wasn't just on all season.
Horrible start to the
but
season.
I want to know why. It's like with Josh Allen, they always have to come up, well, he can't do this. It was earlier in the season, well, fans are going to be in the stadium.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be good.
That was stupid. Yeah.
Because not everybody watches Bills games. You have to watch the game to understand Josh Allen, right? Atlanta's the best example for that. 3 interception day. It was 3 drives in a row too, right? 3 ugly interceptions. They still win the game because Josh Allen runs the ball.
Yeah.
Quarterback rating doesn't measure running the football, at least the NFL quarterback rating.
Now, and it's never going to be perfect. You as a quarterback, as a team, you're going to have to overcome adversity, but it's like this whole Josh Allen being wildly inconsistent and sugar high Josh, to an extent, I can understand that to an extent, but that can't be the overall narrative about Josh Allen. Well, he's not great because, and I don't think that's fair to him.
It's a low-hanging fruit.
It's a low-hanging fruit, and it's an easy way to pick, right, that low-hanging fruit when you're really not paying attention. And so I don't want our fans, when you watch Josh Allen, every quarterback has bad throws. Every quarterback makes the improper read. But going back to what I was saying, one of the things that I appreciate about Josh Allen in this game was he knew what he needed to do to beat the Patriots. I mean, when you slide left, throw outside the numbers on the right-hand side of the field from the left hash to Gabriel Davis in stride, that to me is impressive. When you roll out to your right, and as your body's turning, you throw a perfect dot. Did I say dot to number 88, Dawson Knox, in stride?
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen was dealing.
And even the running plays
was incredible.
He juked Judon multiple times. I mean, it's like, put these guys on their ass. He told that big-ass dude, you can't tackle me.
310-pound Christian Barmore.
Yeah, he made him look like...
Get off me, dog.
Goodbye.
Juked a couple of them, too. Broke some knees out there. Broke some ankles.
And I think people who consistently watch Bills games, we got it, right? We know Josh Allen's the real deal. Literally can carry the team at any moment of the game. It's really impressive, right? It's the people who don't watch Bills games consistently. And this game, I think, changed a lot of minds, right? Because it's a nationally televised game. And there's been many of those, but it's like one here, one there. I mean, this game, full Josh Allen was on display in this game. Right. And I think one of the most fun things about, kicking the Patriots' ass and having a perfect football game for your offense is just watching Twitter and watching the national media, talk about how good Josh Allen is, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing with Josh Allen, though. We're talking about this because we're saying, bottom line, Josh Allen doesn't get enough respect, right? That's what we're saying. Big picture wise, throughout the NFL, he didn't get it. He didn't go to the Pro Bowl, which is stupid, just plain stupidity. But if you look at the big picture of the NFL, the problem with Josh Allen, and I'd say with the Buffalo Bills, is as soon as he throws an incompletion in this game, or God forbid he throw an interception or makes a mistake, what's going to happen? The announcers are going to be all over, oh, Josh Allen is inconsistent, not looking at like his perfect game last week. Oh, he threw an incompletion. He overthrew a guy by a yard, or he bounced it off the dirt, or whatever. They're going to make excuses. Every little thing he does now is going to be amplified into, oh, see, he's not Aaron Rodgers because he threw an incompletion. Yeah. And in this game specifically, Pat Mahomes, right, is literally playing against him. So that's the comparison we're going to have live. And remember, the last game that was called by Collinsworth, he was all over Pat Mahomes. Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. Keep it PG for that part. But they were all over Pat Mahomes. Even though he was playing terribly, they were like, well, Pat Mahomes did an amazing job on that 2-yard scramble where he should have been sacked. And Josh Allen, who's that? He only played a great game, and it's the same thing from the national media. So that's what sucks, is as soon as he makes even a sliver of a mistake that any other quarterback would do on a normal day, they're going to say again, go back to the same narrative.
I see a lot of people in the chat keep referencing the Colts game last year. How about the Texans game the year before that? I got they lost, but they're in the game because of Josh Allen. He made a lot of mistakes, but he's also the reason, they went to overtime. He made some incredible plays in that game.
Yeah, he sure did.
This is not a new story.
And this whole narrative about Josh in the playoffs, I don't know where this stuff comes from, but check this out, though. I mean, this is real. Most passing combined rushing yards a game during the first 5 playoff starts since 1950. Look where Josh Allen is. Yeah. Josh Allen has 338 all-purpose yards and 5 starts in NFL history. Second to Andrew Luck.
Damn.
Kurt Warner's third. Patrick Mahomes is fourth. This is not, we ain't making this shit up. NFL research, Josh Allen became the 3rd player in NFL history with 5+ passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and fewer than 5 incompletions in a single playoff game. Hall of Famer Peyton Manning did so in the 2003 wildcard round versus the Broncos, and Hall of Famer Kurt Warner did so in the 2009 wildcard round versus the Packers. Next-gen stats of the game, Josh Allen also became the first quarterback in the next-gen stats era to finish with a perfect 158.3 pass rating. Now, there's a caveat here on passes with a time to throw of 2.5 seconds or more in a playoff game, a minimum of 15 attempts. Now, you continue to tell me that this man ain't great. In the playoffs,
he had 4 incompletions. Okay,
yeah, man. I put a tweet out earlier. I think it was the night of the game. I put a tweet out talking about what Josh Allen has been able to do. And it, and let me see if I can find it real quick.
But you know what people keep saying now, though, while you're looking that up?
Yeah,
but Pat Mahomes won the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
and that's fair.
Pat Mahomes won the Super Bowl.
That's fair.
Is it though? You got Andy Reid on that team. You got. I mean, it's not just Pat Mahomes, though. Let's get real.
Josh
doesn't have a Tyreek Hill. Let's get real. He doesn't have a Travis Kelce.
Right. Those are valid.
Those are
nothing like that.
Phenomenal players. Supporting cast, right?
Peep this stat line. Josh Allen's last 4 playoff games. Here we go. 98 of 145. That's his completions. That's a completion percentage of 69%, almost 70%.
That's elite, yeah.
10 pass touchdowns. 1 interception, 1,125 pass yards. You tell me how inconsistent that is.
Yeah.
Tell me where the highs and the low lows, because it looks
1
like
interception.
To me,
that's amazing. Yeah.
It looks like to me, and that 1 interception came against the Chiefs last year in garbage time.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that this man is wildly inconsistent in the playoffs? It looks like to me he's pretty consistent outside of the Houston game. 3 last year and 1 this year. That's his stat line. Come on now. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? I just think it's crazy.
It's totally incorrect narrative. Agreed. It's not even close.
What more does he have to do? The next thing he's got to do is win a Super Bowl, period.
Kyler Murray. You want to talk about him? You want to talk about him for a minute?
Exactly who I said he was. Exactly who I said he was. He makes it to the playoffs and chokes. he didn't. He's so inconsistent. It's not even funny. And yet people are all over this guy as being an MVP candidate or whatever. And remember that somebody who is now with this network said something to me about Kyler Murray versus Josh Allen a few years back. And I almost took his head off because I told him that was absolute stupidity. And look where we are now, right? It still ain't happening. He's good, but he's inconsistent, way too inconsistent.
Yeah, where's that
with the players he had? Everybody was picking them to go to the Super Bowl. And even halfway through the season when they had the best record, they're going to be easy wins to the Super Bowl. And I said, now, wait a minute. Kyler Murray in the playoffs, you don't know what that is. He's not going to suddenly become this veteran quarterback who knows everything to do in the playoffs, and especially with the matchups against the teams he's going to have to face in the playoffs versus who he was beating up on in the regular season. They had a competitive schedule because they're one of the most competitive divisions of football. But still, Kyler is exactly that. Inconsistent, still has a lot of growth to do. Can he become an elite quarterback? Sure, I believe it. Just like I said then, talk to me 5 years from now. Well, it's been 2. Talk to me 3 years from now. And if Kyler Murray continues to make improvements incrementally, he's not taking nearly the steps that Josh Allen took. Little steps. Is he better this year than last? Yeah, maybe a little more consistent. My worry now is, has he hit that peak of this is just as good as it gets with him in terms of his running and passing ability, and that's his peak of how good it's going to get? Because they're going to have, some people leaving, some of his weapons leaving town as well, and I don't know what their cap situation looks like, but they were trying to win it this year.
So
JJ Watt, that's
right.
He's not
They're
going to be
a young
part of the
team.
division.
They are a young team.
I mean,
yeah.
And they got beat up by the Rams. I mean, they got outcoached. That Rams defense is really, really solid. And Kyler's just, his game doesn't really adjust to the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. The new NFL, sure. I mean, we can make that argument where if it's closer to the college game, the Cardinals offense is the closest college system offense in the whole league, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good argument. It's hard to say, does it work? It's hard to tell. I mean, I saw him drop to the ground a few times. And I'm like, use your legs. It just seemed overwhelming for him.
Playoffs. It's
right.
Much
I
higher
think in the
level.
playoffs, you got to line up and run the ball. We talked about this last year. Don't think the Cardinals did that enough.
Yeah. So before we continue on with the Bills talk, man, I got a question for you guys. I saw this today. And my question is, smash or pass? Smash or pass?
Pass.
Oh, smash.
Oh.
Dude, Wendy's Frosties.
In
I don't care.
In the chat.
I don't care how much yellow 5's in there.
In the chat, smash or pass? Wendy's Frosty cereal.
No thanks.
Yes, please.
I saw that in the store, man. I was like,
is it real? Oh, I thought you made
it's real. No, it's real.
I've never heard of it, but no thanks.
Everyone's pass.
And your local neighborhood store.
I'll take my Count Chocula all day over that.
They're gonna get that 75 cents out of me. That's for sure.
Look, I'm gonna pass on that.
Yeah, no
I'm going to pass on that. I don't know, man. It's chocolatey. I'm lactose, so if I do eat that, it's a wrap for me. I ain't leaving the bathroom.
Not
bro.
real dairy. You're good.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the kind of cereal that's gonna stick to your mouth. No thanks.
All right. So with that being said, I told you guys I had a special treat for y'all. I don't know if y'all believe me, but my homie, Mr. Ron Kopp Jr. is in the house. And let me tell you about my homeboy here. Now, listen, he's a Chiefs guy. Okay, he does fantastic work at Arrowhead Pride. If you check out any of their content, my guy has his hand in it, articles, you name it. Like, this dude knows his stuff. Okay. And we talked with him over on the Chop Up earlier in the season when the Bills were about to face off against the Chiefs in Arrowhead. And, the Bills won. I wasn't going to talk my shit in the chat, because it's all fun and games. All right. So we're going to show the man with respect. But I hit him up. I was like, bro, the rematch is here. And I just want to, we just got questions for him. We want to talk to him about what the hell is going on with the Chiefs, because this is a different team. So, bruh, Mr. Ron Kopp, what's good, son?
Man, what an intro. Jeez, I feel like I'm I'm way too, overhyped right now. Golly, I got to bring my A game now. But no, I appreciate you, Sterling. I had a really good time that first show we were on. So I'm glad you hit me up.
No, man. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and speak for the four of us here. We're nervous. You're nervous. This is a game. This is a game that you wish you would see in the AFC Championship game again, because I feel like the Bills and the Chiefs are the two best teams in the AFC. And I would venture to say we're probably three of the four best teams in the NFL. You could argue 1 to 3. This is it. I think if whoever wins this game is going to the Super Bowl, no doubt. No doubt. Now I'm gonna preface with this. This is not the same Chiefs team that we saw early in the season, and this is not the same Bills team that we saw early in the season. So my first question for you, man, what has changed with these Chiefs?
Great question.
A ton. A ton. And it's every team, right? Every team has that, you progress over the season, right? But really, when you look at that first game, so first of all, Chris Jones didn't play. He was injured that game. Starting cornerback Charvarius Ward did not play either. Another thing is that they didn't have Melvin Ingram yet. He did not get traded to Kansas City yet, and he's been a huge impact here. He's a starting defensive end now. I never thought that would be the case. I figured he'd come in and be a situational guy.
Right.
All of a sudden, he's playing 75% of the snaps every game. And also the fact that they have Daniel Sorensen still starting as the free safety for 100% of the snaps. That has changed since. And you guys saw exactly why that changed. Actually, it was that game that really, it was really that game that really changed it. And I almost want to thank you guys, because that was much needed for the rest of the season, exposing them like that. But, and another thing too, it's really all defense. I feel like I'm all talking defense. The other thing too is Willie Gay. He's been a playmaker for the Chiefs defense down the stretch. He didn't play that game. He was limited that game. It was his first game back from injury. But yeah, man, a lot has changed. The Chiefs obviously just weren't playing very well in that middle stretch of the season. That was actually the first game where it was really just bad. I mean, the first 4 games, there were some spurts where it looked bad, but man, that was a game where it really looked bad at first. And I can't see that type of game happening again. But that doesn't mean that the result won't happen again. I do think that's absolutely possible.
So you bring up the defense, okay? And when we watch the Chiefs, because we all had a vested interest, like, oh my God, like the bully is about to be, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, that's what a lot of us are thinking. Like Mahomes was erratic, and that's because a lot of the elements around him wasn't going well. I mean, we saw that with Josh Allen, but it was nice to see Mahomes get a taste of what that's actually like when things aren't working well around you and you have to scramble to make things happen. And he was just pressing too hard because he really didn't have the help. You guys invested so much in his offensive line, but back to the defense. Was it a schematic change for you guys, or you think it was just more personnel, getting people more settled into what their actual assignments were?
I do think there were some schematic changes in terms of Spags has always been a pretty creative blitzer, right? But it really seemed like once the defense really, especially after that Bills game and even like the Titans game, once that defense really showed that it needed help, right? It needed kind of schematic help to get better. He just started unloading the blitzes, and he did get a little lucky in terms of, we played a stretch of quarterbacks that were probably, pretty susceptible to the blitz, right? Josh Allen is not a guy I want them to blitz. And that's something that I do want them to change a little bit because like I said, he got a little blitz crazy. Don't need to see that this week, but it was more personnel change though, because a guy like Chris Jones was playing defensive end for the first 4 weeks of the season. That's not where he's been an all-pro player. And now once he's at D tackle, you're seeing that he's, more of an all-pro presence now. I mentioned Sorensen before. Sorensen is a good player when he's just a kind of that box safety that gets blitzed a lot, or just is kind of in run defense when you're kind of needing a light defense, light personnel. He still can come up and defend the run. But when you're putting him as the deep half safety, you're going to get burned by Stephon Diggs on a corner post. So that hasn't, although I should say they do still put him back there sometimes, but not as much anymore. And so, I'm kind of riding the fence here. It is more personnel, though. It was more them changing up who's in the game. Obviously, adding a Melvin Ingram completely changed their pass rush because now you have 3 guys that are really threats instead of just 2. So it was more personnel, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs, they have been the best team in the NFL, I think, weeks 6 through 18 in terms of points per game. I think they're allowing 17 points per game right now, and that's impressive. I mean, considering they were getting gouged. Now, talk to me about the Chiefs' run defense. Now, I know that they are not as stout against teams that run the ball well. So, I think that's gonna be a point of emphasis for Kansas City this week as they're prepared for the Buffalo Bills, who, you got Josh Allen, one of the top 3 running quarterbacks in the league, and then the emergence of Devin Singletary coming in there. So, what do you think? How do you think the Chiefs are going to be able to stop the Bills being able to run the football?
Yeah, that design run game. That's not something I'm looking forward to in terms of the quarterback design run game. Josh Allen, it does seem like, why have him do that all year? And it does seem like, maybe you guys weren't doing it all year and now it's like unload it, right? And actually, it's funny. We were just breaking down, me and a couple of guys from AP were just breaking down some film from that first game. And that first drive, there was like a 25-yard run by Josh Allen on a design run that, 2 pullers, he's just, no one touches him. And then the touchdown run was a design run as well. So I think it's going to be a big part. And it's a problem, man. It is a problem because Josh Allen can be both powerful and finesse at the same time. And that's something the Chiefs back end have struggled with at times this year is just tackling in general. I feel like they've gone in spurts where they're tackling really well. But then if you guys watch the last 2 weeks of the regular season, I mean, they couldn't make a tackle. So it will be interesting. And the Steelers' performance, they played a lot better, right? But it's the Steelers. So the defense still hasn't really been tested outside of like the Bengals game, and you saw what happened. So I am curious to see how they defend the Bills and how the Bills attack the Chiefs. Because if I'm the Bills, I do use Josh Allen to design run game quite a bit. I really would.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, in the playoffs, you see Josh Allen, they deploy a lot of quarterback power. I mean, Josh Allen is coming. He's coming with that heat. But the cool thing about which I did not expect moving forward was the emergence of the Bills' offensive line. They made some key moves. Getting Ryan Bates in there left guard really helped. And then we're seeing our right tackle Spencer Brown kind of settle in to his own here. And Deion Dawkins is having a Pro Bowl season coming off of COVID. So the offensive line is, and who Mitch Morse is. He was pulling this past week, and that boy got some wheels. So the offensive line has played really well for the Bills these past 5 weeks. But there's one player in particular that I want to get your opinion on, and that's Jerick McKinnon. When I watch him run the ball, I'm terrified because not only do you have Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, now you got another fast-ass dude and Jerick McKinnon, and I'm like, why, Andy Reid? Why do you need another guy that can run like the effing cheetah? You don't need another one. Share them. Give us him. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's funny because, now people are all speculating, was Andy saving Jerick McKinnon for the playoffs, which I don't think is true because we could have definitely used some of that juice earlier in the season at times to not be in the 2 seed rather than the 1 seed. But no, I do think that's one thing about maybe the difference between the first matchup and now is that the Bills obviously are playing a lot of deeper, just soft zones. Just, hey, you're throwing underneath. You're not getting anything over the top of us. And one thing that the Chiefs just weren't able to take advantage of the run game and the short passing game with their running backs to kind of make the Bills maybe even come out of that, right? They weren't getting anything on the ground. The Chiefs running backs this year, and I know the offensive line is young, and I think that game specifically, they didn't have their best game. They've definitely gotten better. But the Chiefs running backs, man, this year have just not taken advantage of run lanes, the good run blocking. I mean, at times, man, it seems like a better running back could pop a 50-yard gain and it turns into 10 because that's just this Chiefs running back group doesn't have that explosion, that big play ability, except all of a sudden McKinnon looks like that, right? So yeah, I do think it's a legitimate thing. I think it's a legitimate, a boost, right? It's not just another running back getting hot. I do think McKinnon does bring something that the other running backs didn't. And man, there's not a better time to get hot than right now. So if you're a Chiefs fan, yeah, you're a little excited about to see, what can happen with McKinnon because we haven't
exactly
seen anything like this all season.
We know exactly what you mean about run game. Running backs not hitting the hole, seriously. Not taking advantage of good blocking. But I just want to say, wait till you see Matt Breida this week. We've been saving him for the playoffs. You think Jerick McKinnon had a big week? Matt Breida's coming off the bench.
Yeah. Make sure they do. Make sure the Chiefs do hours and hours of prep for Matt Breida. I have an interesting question though, because I'm interested to know the perspective of Chiefs fans and the way the Chiefs approach this matchup with the Bills. We obviously won in the regular season, but overall, we still hate the Chiefs because they beat us last year, right? And the reason of all the games this season, the Bills were most focused and most ready, not counting last weekend in the playoffs, but regular season, the Chiefs game, like they were, you could tell they had the look in their eye. We hate this team. We are ready for this team. We had our best week of practice, and we are going to lay it all out on the field and beat this team because that's what we want to do. I mean, do the Chiefs feel – I mean, they can't feel similarly to the Bills because they haven't lost to us in the playoffs, but are they going to be as up and ready as the Bills are for this game from the mentality of, this is a team we definitely have to beat and be on our A game?
Well, that's the worry, right? As a Chiefs fan, honestly. I mean, in the playoffs, man, a lot of it does come down to like who – I know it's so cliche, but like who wants it more? Like, and that's why I've been kind of saying this week, I've actually gotten in trouble this week with Chiefs Twitter because I have complimented you guys a couple times. And a few people have told me, oh, go get your Bills hat, whatever, go join Bills Mafia. But my thing, though, is that you guys do remind me, and I said this when I was with you, Sterling, earlier in the year, in week 5, you guys do remind me of the 2019 Chiefs in terms of you lose in the AFC Championship the year before, you lose to the reigning kings, right? The AFC Titans, the Patriots, we lose to them. We come back, we have that mindset. Yeah, 2019, we didn't have the greatest regular season, just like you guys haven't had the greatest regular season, right? You didn't dominate the whole time. Right. We didn't dominate the whole time in 2019. But what matters is the playoffs. And if anything from last week tells you the Bills are ready for the playoffs, I mean, golly, that was insane to watch. And so all that to say, yeah, I do think there's going to be a very legitimate motivational edge that the Bills have that the Chiefs don't. The Chiefs can say all they want about, hey, we're motivated by, losing the Super Bowl last year and all that. Man, they've won a ring. There's nothing like that hunger to win that first ring. And the Chiefs just don't have that like the Bills do. And that's why I am, that's my main concern about this game is I do think the energy, the just the motivation level, the want it more level, the Bills are going to have that advantage. Even if it is at home in Arrowhead, I do think the Bills will have that advantage.
Mm-hmm. And I'll agree with you there. And I was going to mention that, this team does resemble that 2019 Chiefs team because Tom Brady was like the thing, and he still is, exactly. But he's on another conference. But Mahomes is kind of taking the mantle of the king of the NFL, if you will. He's a darling in NFL. And we were just talking before you got on how Josh Allen is just this. Everybody says that, he's just wildly inconsistent and he, high highs and low lows. And that's, I'll give people a partial point on that. But if you actually watch the game and know what he was dealing with some of the personnel and so forth, that like now when things are right, look at what he's doing. I mean, he's been on a tear these last few weeks. And if I was a Chiefs fan, and I'm not as a Bills homer, but I would be like, damn, I'll be kind of nervous to see Josh Allen knowing some of the deficiencies that you guys have right now. And I don't think that the Chiefs have necessarily been tested with what they're going to get on Sunday night in terms of a complete football team. Now, that can all change. Like you said, who wants it more? And the Bills can want it all they want to, but if they don't go out there and execute, we're going to kind of be in the same place that we were last year where Stephon Diggs is just sitting there watching y'all celebrate and going to the next round, right?
Well, you mentioned Stephon Diggs, and that's the point I want to bring up. You say we haven't been tested, man. The thing is, when we see elite receivers like a Jamar Chase, they burn us for 266 receiving yards. Spags, that blitz thing that I talked about earlier, it has turned into, especially that game, we haven't seen an elite receiver since with the quarterback. That's the thing. I mean, we've gotten lucky. We played Devontae Adams without Aaron Rodgers, right? We played Dak Prescott, but he didn't have Amari Cooper that game. He didn't have actually two of his receivers. Michael Gallup didn't play that game either. So my point being is that Spags will trust his corners a little more than he probably should against a guy like Stephon Diggs. I would like to see him be a little more cautious, not allow, especially with the guy like Allen, not allow them to just have, where Allen can just drop back and say, hey, I got one-on-one coverage with Diggs. Let me just try it out. Because as good as these corners have played at times, man, it's such an offensive league, and you have to be a really dang good corner to really take away some of these elite receivers like a Stephon Diggs. So yeah, that's one of my main concerns, honestly, is that Spags will trust what he likes to do a little too much and not adjust to take away what the Bills would probably take advantage in those blitzes of just get the ball to Stephon Diggs or any of those playmakers. You guys have a few playmakers that could burn us for sure.
Well, and you guys got Ward and Snead, and those are really good cornerbacks. And I that's a really good point that you bring about Spags, because I feel like if he comes in here thinking that he's going to blitz, that I just don't think that's the best recipe for success against this Bills team. Now, for instance, they did that. The Bucs did that a few weeks ago with Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles, they came in there and they blitzed the hell out of Josh Allen, and they beat Josh Allen to a bloody pulp. But in the second half, they made adjustments, and then here we go. The defense kind of held their own, and then Josh Allen started making plays, and then that was the beginning of playoff Josh Allen, and he hasn't looked back since. Mm-hmm. And so, I hope that they blitz Josh Allen a lot, because I feel like our offensive line is better. But I'm not here to say, well, the Bills are going to win, but I just think that the pressure that's on you guys, the Chiefs. I mean, it's right now, man. It's got to be immense. So we got super chat for you, Ron. Here Eric says, Ron, we have our Superman. What is KC's kryptonite? Great question, and thank you for supporting the show. So Ron, I'll let you take care of that one. What's KC's kryptonite?
It's not going to be a good answer for a Chiefs fan, but it has been running quarterbacks this year. And guess what the Bills have? It seems like this year, whenever they face a quarterback that's mobile, whether it be like a Jalen Hurts earlier in the year or Lamar Jackson, obviously, I mean, that was just ridiculous in that game. And then Josh Allen, obviously, too. So it's funny. The Chiefs have gotten, like I kind of mentioned earlier, but down the stretch, they played a lot of quarterbacks that either weren't mobile or just weren't very good. And so you obviously can get away with blitzing a lot more in those instances. You can get away with kind of being more experimental, being more risky in those situations. A very athletic quarterback like Allen, you don't want to be that risky. You want to kind of maybe play more conservative, force him to, kind of be patient, take the underneath stuff, not give him big play opportunities. But as we just mentioned, man, Spags will be Spags. He doesn't really like to change up much what he does. He does like to do what he does. So a guy like Josh Allen is the Chiefs defense kryptonite right now, which is not a great.
I took that in a nerdier way, meaning that Superman is the superhero. He gets beat by the kryptonite, right? So in your mind, kind of flipping the question a little bit, Josh Allen's out there. What do you think the Chiefs are going to do? Is it about blitzing, which, as Sterling just mentioned, probably isn't a good idea ever against Josh Allen, but you got to get pressure. But if you send the blitz, he's going to torch you on those short passes or the run. So what do you think? Do they have an X factor guy or game plan that would be like ideal situation? This is how we beat Josh Allen.
Yeah, I know it's very cliche, but man, you got to rush 4 and you got to play 7 in coverage. Like, put all 7 of those guys in coverage, man. Force Allen to find tight windows in zone coverage and make those throws, because he will, but you still have to force him to make those. Right. And that's something the defenses have been doing to Mahomes all year. And at first it really disrupted him, man. And that's why the Chiefs weren't very good. He just wasn't comfortable having to be patient, not ever having a chance to have a big play. And now he's gotten a little better at that. But yeah, because the Chiefs pass rush has come on lately. Melvin Ingram, Chris Jones, and Frank Clark are a pretty dang good trio. I will say Frank Clark hasn't always been the guy that deserves what he's being paid, and he still doesn't deserve what he's getting paid, but he's been a lot better this year. He's just been, I don't know what it is. He just looks healthier, just looks more explosive. The pass rush is dangerous, and so that's why the other reason why you don't blitz is because you can trust your guys up front to get pressure, right? And I know just because you get pressure doesn't mean it's going to turn into a sack, especially with a guy like Allen, but it's just a lot better chance of, him, maybe Allen kind of getting hurried, trying to make a tight window throw as he's getting pressured, instead of you send 6 guys and then, there's a wide open route because, it's just how the play works. So yeah, I would definitely say rush 4, get your best pass rushers in the game, just get after him and trust your 7 guys in coverage. It just goes back to not blitzing. It really does.
So Mahomes, let's talk about Mahomes, because you brought up a really good point about how Josh Allen was in the same boat as Mahomes this year, facing those cover 2 drop zones and flooding the passing zones. Josh Allen had to deal with that himself this year. The both of them did. Now we saw Josh Allen what he was able to do to kind of rectify that and get better as the season went along. Walk me through what Patrick Mahomes' process was like, and what game did you say, okay, he has it now, and now he's conquered that defensive scheme or that look?
I mean, that's a good question. I think I want to say it was that Raiders game at Las Vegas. It really seemed like, and a lot of people kind of said, well, hey, the Raiders defense, they will just refuse to play those two highs, and that's why maybe the Chiefs finally had a good game offensively, is because the Raiders just wanted to play cover 3 all game, and the Chiefs know how to beat cover 3 because they've been facing Gus Bradley for like the last 6 years, whether it was in the chart with the Chargers or the Raiders. But anyway, it did seem like Mahomes just all of a sudden, he just trusted his offensive line a little more. He just was more comfortable in the pocket. Earlier in the season, man, anytime there was any sort of edge pressure, it just seemed like he just trusted himself too much to try to avoid it by going around the outside and running away from the pressure rather than step up in that pocket, allow your offensive tackle to wash him out behind you, and trust the 3 guys you have in front of you. Because one thing is, their interior offensive line is as good as it gets in the NFL right now. I know they have 2 rookies that make up that, but man, they've been playing so well, and that's a big reason why Mahomes has been able to step up in these pockets and play different. It is, you will notice that before, Mahomes was always trying to escape the pocket and scramble around the outside, back and around. But now every time you'll see it every time he scrambles, it really is up through the front of the pocket, up between the guard and the tackle instead of around the outside. And the other thing too is he's more willing to just check it down to the running back. Man, he was not doing that earlier in the season. That's actually, in the Bills game, that was something I actually pointed out, where there's a few times he just needed to just in rhythm, check it down, move on to the next play. But he's trying to force something downfield. He has really accepted that he just needs to stay in rhythm, stay within the offense. If the deep stuff isn't there, the more, just the deeper stuff, whether it's, intermediate route or a big bomb, just check it down sometimes when it's there. And you saw guys like Darrell Williams and Jerick McKinnon all of a sudden have, get more productive because Mahomes was willing to trust them more. So I think Mahomes just got more comfortable in the pocket. That's really what it was. It's just comfort in the pocket and just being able to play within rhythm, within timing more.
And Byron Pringle, I mean,
yeah,
again, another
who's
weapon.
This guy, yeah,
like what the hell? I mean, this guy's balling out, dude.
Yeah,
speed
2
everywhere.
Yeah, trust me. We all know DeMarcus Robinson at this point, although, I wish I didn't know him as much anymore, because I've been calling for Pringle to be playing over Robinson for like the past 3 seasons. And I'm not the only one. I'm not trying to say I'm smart. It's the whole Chiefs kingdom has been calling for this. And this is exactly why. It does seem like Pringle's just a more consistent receiver. Better hands. He does have some drops, I guess, sometimes. So he's not the most. He's still not the best receiver. Still not the most consistent receiver, but he's just reliable. It seems like. And Mahomes trusts him. I will say real quick, this last game against the Steelers in the red zone, it seemed like Mahomes checked out of a play, audible to a slant and go to Pringle, and that's, they scored on that play. That's not something Andy's calling in the huddle, and it's something that fascinated us in Chiefs Kingdom. We don't run goal line fades. We don't run red zone, get to the corner of the end zone, I'm going to throw it up. That's just not something that's in Andy's playbook. But I think Mahomes audible to that and trusted his guy to make a play. So I think the biggest part about Pringle is that Mahomes trusts him, and that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, and so in the red zone, you got, so this is how I feel about the Chiefs. Their red zone offense is pretty gimmicky, if you ask me, where they do the shovel passes, and I mean, it's just too cute sometimes, man. And they did that in the Bills game, and you saw a couple of those times in the game this past weekend. Why so much trickery? Why is it? It's just not traditional. What's the mindset behind that?
No, it's a good question, because it's something that last year they did a lot, and it was actually more excusable, because last year, and it's not a secret, the offensive line just wasn't very good, and they were actually statistically a Football Outsider stat power success rate, which is basically just short yard runs, how successful you are at them. They were the worst team in the NFL last year on short yardage runs. That has actually flipped this year. Now they're one of the best. And so that's why it's a good question, because it doesn't make as much sense this year as it has in years past. This year's offensive line is absolutely able to get 3 or 4 yards if you need it, on the ground in short yardage situations. It just still seems like Andy I think that's just, the red zone is just where he likes to design those plays. I think it's just more of a personal preference for him. He just he likes those plays. It juices his own players. I mean, a guy like Kelsey throwing a touchdown, I mean, that obviously, gets him fired up. And our backup guard catching a touchdown. I mean, that's obviously an exciting thing. I guess, didn't you guys have a pick six this week too? Yeah, you guys had a big.
We didn't have a pick six. We had a
huge
big
interception.
Yeah.
Oh,
a guy. Yeah, the big guy scoring a touchdown. Yeah, you guys had one too. So.
The end of the
yeah.
game.
But all that to say is, it is something that I think just Andy prefers, and he's just like Spags in terms of he doesn't really adjust to the other team. He really just runs what he runs and kind of trusts it, right? It's something that sometimes can bite him in the butt, but when it works, right, it looks really good and it looks really cool. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I want your opinion on this, because we're going to shift. I want your opinion on the Bills now. So our fans want to know, like, because it's one thing as fans, we see what Josh Allen's able to do week in, week out. But what's the overall opinion of Josh Allen and Chiefs Kingdom? Like, how do you guys feel about him right now?
Oh, I like rooting for him. He's a cool dude, man. I mean, he just has a really cool personality. Like, if he wasn't on, we're not rivals, but I mean, we might as well.
Oh, we are. We are.
Yeah, yeah. I know. It's rivalry is such a weird term now, I feel like. But yeah, so I like Allen. I don't think there's no ill will against Allen or anything. It's just. I do think people, they just get defensive of Mahomes. It's just natural, right? It's just like how you guys, I'm sure, defend Allen when, someone wants to bring up the him versus him conversation, because they both have different strengths. They both, excel at different things, although, each of them have just an absolute, just unnatural cannon of an arm. But I like Allen, man. If he was in the NFC, he'd probably be one of my favorite players, honestly, just because of his personality, just because of his play style too. Man, I know everyone makes this comparison, but he really is just like it's almost like a 15 or 16-year-old just in this huge dude's body, and just like, just playing in the backyard. And I love that, man. It is fun to watch him. It really is.
I mean, we over here think of Mahomes as like, Mahomes is God. Like, I mean,
can do no wrong.
Man, Mahomes is, dude, like, we watch Mahomes and it's like, damn. It's like Mahomes had a 5-touchdown game this past weekend. Like, but everybody's like, he does it.
That's just
all the time. Like, it's like
it's arm arrogance.
Bro, Mahomes is the truth.
Yeah, he's arrogant with his arm, and it's fun to watch as well.
He does get a little more media hype, like we talked about earlier with the calling of that game by Collinsworth. I mean, it couldn't have been worse in that game, and they couldn't get off of Mahomes and say one.
When you win Super Bowls, that comes with it.
Yep.
Exactly, maybe that's right. I don't know, but they love Mahomes.
Yeah. No, yeah, Mahomes is definitely the advantage of winning a Super Bowl in the second year he ever started. He's always going to have that, right? He never has to worry about. And that's the other thing too, is I think there is this relaxed mindset with him, like. Some quarterbacks, they never win a Super Bowl, and he won one his first year. Like, he's always going to be playing kind of with house money a little bit. But no, it is funny. I think Chiefs Kingdom a little bit has gotten spoiled. The 5-touchdown game, like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I didn't come out being like, oh, wow, I just watched one of the best performances in Mahomes' career. I was kind of just like, oh, yeah, that was a good game. That was a fun game. I do think that part of the reason was that the Steelers game didn't really feel like a playoff game. It feels like the start of the playoffs was this week to me. So that might have been part of the reason, but yeah, we both have really fun quarterbacks. It's a good time, isn't it? It's a fun time.
From a Bills perspective too, one of the players you brought up, the interior offensive line playing really well, and from a Bills perspective, before I heard you say that, even one of my players to watch in this game is Ed Oliver. I feel like this is the Ed Oliver game, because similar to what we talked about with Allen, you don't want to blitz Allen. You don't really want to blitz Mahomes that much either. You want to get pressure, but you don't want to blitz. You can only send 3 or 4. And I think the key for us is going to be Ed Oliver's ability to cut through that middle and get his hands or get near Mahomes to at least fluster Mahomes, if not hit him a few times, And I don't know if the rookie offensive line is going to hold up on that. But my question here is, Ed Oliver's the guy I'm thinking about, but is there a player on the Bills that the Chiefs are kind of targeting on defense, saying, okay, this is a guy we got to watch out for? Matt Milano, I don't think played in the Kansas City game last time.
No, he didn't.
Trey White is obviously not playing in this game now that he's hurt, which was, he was a difference maker always when he's on the field, but our cornerbacks have played really, really well in his absence. So yeah, I'm just wondering from your perspective, what Bills players you're watching on defense.
Last time Gregory Rousseau had a pretty good game against our rookie right tackle, and he actually isn't playing anymore. He actually got hurt, and a veteran now is in. But Andrew Wiley is actually, a probably worse option. Obviously, he wasn't a starter. He's more of a guard, and he's playing tackle, and so we saw it against TJ Watt. That didn't go well sometimes, and you actually in that game is a good example of how it can really affect Mahomes. The pressure early in that game, the pressure was getting to him, and that's why they didn't score for 5 straight possessions. You saw some throws where he was able to get it off, but it just was at the feet of the receiver because he wasn't able to set his feet with the pressure coming on him. So that's obviously a big key in this game. Yeah, I do think Gregory Rousseau is a guy. He had the interception last time too. He made a great play. It was mostly our rookie right tackle not knowing to cut block on a quick pass, but I do think he's the guy that they might want to be chipping a lot. I don't know. You guys tell me. Maybe does he exclusively come from the right side of the offense? It seemed like last time he was only on over the right tackle.
Most of his snaps come from the right side, so you're going to
see him on the other.
They're going to give him. They're going to give the Andrew Wiley, the right tackle, a lot of help with him because I know he's a rookie. He's not one of the best pass rushers in the league or anything. He might not even be the best on your team, but he's got the mismatch out of anybody else on the line. I know. Yeah, you mentioned Ed Oliver. He's a good player too, but I definitely trust our interior line to handle him a lot more than the right tackle to handle Gregory Rousseau.
Yeah, Trey Smith. Is he still starting or is it Kyle Long starting in right guard?
No, it's Trey Smith. It is.
Okay.
He's been great this year, man. He's the thing with him is he's not like this super consistent, like he's never gonna lose a rep because he'll lose reps. He actually is on the ground at the end of the play a lot more than you'd like a starting lineman to be. But then on the flip side, there's plays where he's just absolutely taking a dude out of the club and just throwing guys around. So I mean, he's so violent, he's so physical, he loves the violence of the game. It's one thing. Every time he talks to the media, somehow we get a great quote of him saying how much he loves the violence of football and stuff. So, yeah, he's a big physical dude. That's going to be a fun matchup between Ed Oliver and Trey Smith when they do go against each other. Two really just stud guys, in my opinion.
And Nick Bolton, to me, honestly, that's a guy that scares me. Just his range and speed and his instincts are really good for a rookie. I mean, this guy coming out of Missouri, we're hoping that the Bills will take a good look at him, but you guys scooped him up. How much of an impact has he made on your defense?
Yeah, he has been a difference maker. This linebacker group has always been the weakness of the Chiefs defense in the Spagnuolo era the past few years. And this year they've really upgraded it. Willie Gay I've mentioned before, but Nick Bolton is the most sure tackler, I guess. Yeah, the most sure tackler of the linebacker group. He's not the most athletic. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the best in coverage. He really is not. But around around the box, making plays in the run game, man, he's very good at sniffing out a play and making tackles in the backfield and not missing tackles.
Yeah,
and that is one thing with some other guys in the back end that's a problem. He's definitely not one of those guys. He's a sure tackler, and yeah, he's mostly effective in the run game coming downhill. He actually doesn't play most of the time anymore. He was playing a lot earlier in the season because Willie Gay was injured, but now when they're in their nickel sets, which they're going to be in a lot, obviously against the Bills, it's Hitchens and Gay as those two linebackers, and Bolton only comes in on those base sets. Which obviously, the Bills will allow some base sets because they'll probably be in some, 12 or 21 personnel to run sometimes. But most of the time, I feel like you guys are in 11 personnel, and that's not going to put Bolton on the field. So that actually could be an advantage of the Bills to keep the Chiefs out of base because Bolton is the best tackler, especially if Allen's going to be moving around. Bolton's probably the guy I trust the most to make that tackle once he's there on Allen.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of 11 personnel with the Bills this coming week. And the emergence of Isaiah McKenzie and Gabriel Davis and Dawson Knox just keeps getting better. He's no Travis Kelce, but man, I think, here in the next few years, I mean, Dawson Knox is going to be a top 5 tight end in this league. I mean, he's that good right now. I mean, you saw what he did to the Chiefs earlier in the season, so go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that the first year I really took, covering the draft seriously, I was all for Dawson Knox as a Chiefs pick to be, a tight end too, eventually, maybe replace Kelce at some point, but just to be a good complimentary guy. I've always liked him. And so it's kind of cool to see him succeed. It's always kind of cool because I was really pounding the table for him that draft season. So it's kind of cool to see him flourish somewhere else. And he definitely has, man. one of the most productive tight ends in the league this year. I mean, that's
not bad
awesome,
for a guy
man.
with 9 catches in college.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, quarterback
exactly.
in high school.
I know. And that's almost why I was so like, I wanted to pound the table so much. I was like, I know this, I want to sound right. I want to sound smart because this guy had 9 catches in college, but I could see it. So
yeah, he's on a team with
that's really
AJ
cool.
Brown, DK Metcalf. That's going to happen.
Right.
It's overlooked.
Yeah, I think he has a good excuse, I would say.
What about the depth in the secondary? So like I was saying, the Bills you're gonna see a lot of 11 personnel and a lot of Josh Allen running the ball. But when the Bills are looking to pass, you're gonna see. I think they're gonna throw out McKenzie and Gabriel Davis a lot at the same time and kind of spread you guys as thin as possible to really put pressure on that secondary. How do you guys feel like you're going to what are the Chiefs going to do in terms of their depth in the secondary, because it's going to get tested this week?
Yeah, you're right. No, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of nickel and dime personnel where we obviously 5 or 6 DBs on the field, and the thing with your dime personnel in the Chiefs dime is that means Daniel Sorensen is on the field. That's the only time he's on the field now. So yeah, I think it's smart if the Bills get them in their dime as much as possible. And yeah, like I said with Spags, man, he trusts maybe a little too much, and he's going to trust Sorensen to maybe be in man coverage against Dawson Knox again, or even like a Ben Neiman, maybe be in coverage man on man against one of the running backs, right? And that's a mismatch for the Chiefs' part, on the Chiefs' side, no doubt about it. But in terms of just the secondary itself, they're going to use Tyrann Mathieu in really creative ways. They're actually, I was just digging into the film from the Steelers game before this, and there were some cool ways they were using him in terms of sometimes being a robber, sometimes actually being the drop coverage player in Tampa, where Tampa 2 coverage, where he's dropping with the seam route up the middle. I haven't seen that really before. So there's going to be some creative ways to use Tyrann Mathieu to kind of counter that. The problem is that when they use Tyrann Mathieu in those creative ways, it puts Daniel Sorensen in more of just a deep coverage responsibility, where it's pretty easy to target, to target a guy when you know where he's going to be in coverage, right? When he sets up that way. And I think the Bills probably understand, and it seemed like they did the first time. They probably understand, hey, let's find 49 and let's attack where that's going to be. So I really do think he's going to be the key. I trust the rest of the defensive secondary, honestly. It's a guy like Sorensen that's really going to, make or break whether the Chiefs give up big plays or not.
Sorensen is the weak spot, but I agree. I mean, if you go back and look at Tyrann Mathieu when he was at LSU, they were using him in coverage that way, and there was shades of that early in his career. But he's just so good as a box safety, and his ability to make game-changing plays with taking the ball away. It's hard to put him on the back end and have him do some of those things. And so, and he's not the biggest safety. He's a smaller guy. So, but he has range, and people just think he's a one-niche safety, and he's not. I mean, he's one of the best safeties in the game. It has been for years. So
we got a super chat along these same lines here. I didn't know if you saw this one, but yeah.
Darren Sorensen has been burned for yards and touchdowns this season. Which wide receiver will be matched up on him to be able to take advantage of him like McKenzie on Bryant?
Thank you, Carl, for the super chat.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't think Spags will put him in coverage on a receiver. I do think most of the time when he trusts Dan Sorensen in man coverage, he's either a tight end or a running back. So if we do see Sorensen in coverage on McKenzie, oh boy! I mean, McKenzie is going to turn him around like a top. I mean, it is not going to be good. So, no, I don't think we'll see a matchup like that very much. I would say McKenzie would probably be seeing L'Jarius Sneed a lot, or a guy like Rashad Fenton, who actually was a late scratch last week, and I actually don't know if he's going to be good to go Sunday. But he's an important player. He's kind of the other slot guy they'll trust sometimes, and I know McKenzie will operate from the slot quite a bit. So. Yeah, don't bank on Sorensen being in coverage on a guy like McKenzie, but in terms of deep coverage, if someone's trying to take the top off, he might be in that area.
Why wouldn't they use Armani Watts more in those situations versus Sorensen?
That's a question we all have been asking in Chiefs Kingdom. They just because Watts has been here. He was drafted in 2018, and he's been a great special teams player for us that entire time. Just never really got a chance on defense. I'm not sure exactly why that is. In these situations, you kind of just default to he must not get the playbook down. He just must not, impress in practice, because he is a very key part of the special teams. I mean, he led the team in special team snaps last year. And I swear, every time he does happen to get in, whether it's because of a blowout or earlier this year, Tyrann Mathieu actually didn't play in the week 1 game, so he had to play more. He seems to make plays in the run game. He does seem to come up and make plays, good tackles. So I agree. I don't know exactly what it is, but I do think Spags just trusts Sorensen, and whether that's a good idea or not, he just does, and it's just a fact. Yeah. It's not going to change now.
He's a smart player. I just it's like, man, that guy, he's instinctual and he's always in the right place, it seems. So yeah. Okay, so let's wrap up here. So the moment a lot of us is, now we're not going to hold you to this, Ron, okay? Because it may change over the week, right? I'm gonna check in with you throughout the week and see how you feeling. But let's prediction. Like, what do you really think is going to happen? We'll give our prediction, but I want to hear what your prediction is for this game, man.
Whew, man. I'm telling you, I said it earlier, but I have been getting a lot of trouble, a lot of heat in Chiefs Kingdom, because I've really been warning everybody, like, guys, let's not, like, no one should be going into this game acting like, it's. I don't think anyone's acting like it's the Steelers game where, like, we're overlooking it or anything, but it does seem like people aren't giving you guys enough credit, and I've been doing my best to get people understanding that the Bills deserve a little more credit. So, all that to say, man, Chiefs are still at home. The 2019 Chiefs comparison thing, the only problem with that is that the 2019 Chiefs were able to go through, their home stadium throughout that playoff run. And that might just be what the difference is in a game like this. These two are so evenly matched, and I do think the Bills could come in with better energy. You saw the Chiefs last week, man. They came out flat as heck, and any other team is probably running them out of the building if they start like that. I actually tweeted it. I said the Bills are wrecking this version of the Chiefs during that game. So, So all that to say, Chiefs are going to pull it out at home. You guys will have another year to go on your Super Bowl run when you have the home field advantage. But when you're coming into Arrowhead, I can't pick the Chiefs to lose in Arrowhead in the playoffs. I cannot do it. As much as I do think there's a strong possibility you guys coming in making this win. Chiefs 31, Bills 27.
Ooh, close game.
Okay. All right. So Eric, what's your prediction here, man?
I think it's going to be the shootout game that we've all been waiting for. I feel like the championship game last year was kind of a dud, right? We all expected a shootout, and it really was just Chiefs dominating. So I think the Bills, they've been looking forward to this one. I think it comes down to the final drive, which ends up being the Bills, and they actually finish it this time because they've dropped 3 or 4 games this year in the red zone on the 4th and goal, and they can't get it done. So they finally get it done. 36-35 Bills.
Ooh. 1 point.
Wow. Okay.
Even slimmer margins.
Anthony?
All right. Well, I got high expectations after nailing the Patriots game, and I told you guys I was definitely not predicting a blowout in this one. It's going to be a competitive game, but here's what I think the difference is. The Bills come out and score and take a small lead in the beginning of the game, maybe 7 points. Chiefs come back and score 7-7. Bills get a field goal 10-7. They chip away and hold on to that lead for the game. So I'm not expecting a shootout per se as much as Josh Allen trying to control the clock, get some points on the board, do what we do best, keep that Chiefs offense on the bench over there, and continue to finish drives. Close game all the way to the end. I think it's a 3-point lead until Mahomes blows it in the fourth quarter with a tipped interception maybe. Bills win by 10. Final score 34-24 Buffalo Bills.
Notice how nobody said 7 straight touchdowns on 7 drives.
Oh, definitely not. That would be now. That is possible that we do see Josh Allen play at that elite level, but that is not where my expectations are for this game. They were there for the Patriots. That is not where my expectations are against the Chiefs. But I still think the Bills offense. The Bills have the better defense. The Bills offense maybe a little less than the Chiefs offense, but we're still able to get it done. Certainly playing on all levels right now. Bills 34, Chiefs 24.
Whew. Okay, so even as I'm about to say all this, my heart is pounding. Okay, Ron, bro, my heart is pounding, y'all. Like I am not well right now. But I'm gonna say I know Jackson Mahomes is going to ruin it for you guys this week because he's going to be TikToking and shaking his ass. Okay. So with that being said, I think, the football guys are going to say, sit your ass down. I think the Bills are going to win 30-27, but I think it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be a dogfight in the first half. And I think that's where the scoring is going to take place in the second half. Both these teams are really good at second half adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
I think Travis Kelce, we're going to see a lot of Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. I think their speed alone and run after catchability is really going to be a problem for the Bills. But I really do think Josh Allen is going to have a signature moment this week. And I think it's going to be one of those last drives. And I think he's actually going to get the Bills over the top 30-27. So I'm going to go with the Bills. Now, ask me tomorrow, that may change. But I think this really plays well. This team has been built to play the Chiefs, built to actually beat the Chiefs this whole offseason with their additions with Gregory Rousseau, Boogie Basham, and the additions on the offensive line to get better in the trenches. Now we're seeing all that manifest and come to light. Devin Singletary's playing well. I just think that the Spags is going to have too much to game plan for it because the Bills are one. I think they're the most well-balanced team in the NFL right now, and that's not just being a homer. I really do believe that, but I think it's going to be a damn good game, and I have all the respect in the world for you, my man, and Chiefs Nation. But Jackson Mahomes, that boy's got to sit his ass down. That boy be shaking, he'd be shaking his little butt too much, man. But at the end of the day, it don't matter. These are two great franchises, and we're going to be having this conversation each and every year.
That's
and
right.
Why in the hell are we playing you guys in Arrowhead again next season, in the regular season? What the hell is wrong with that, bro?
No, yeah, you're right. And the only time we came to you guys last year, and obviously COVID, so no fans. We haven't really gotten the full Buffalo experience in the Mahomes area yet. So and we might have to wait, I guess, a little more.
Yeah, I might go to the game. I'm checking some stuff out. So if I come, I'm gonna hit you up.
Hit me up.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you.
I might be at the game. I'm not sure. I'm actually a season ticket holder, but the fellows at AP, they like me to not enjoy my time at the game and help them cover the game. But we'll see. I'm still deciding. So yeah, hit me up.
So before we get out of here, man, why don't you tell everybody how they can find you and your content and what you actually do for Arrowhead Pride, if you don't mind sharing with the fans.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I write for arrowheadpride.com, SB Nation site. I'm the lead analyst there. I do a lot of film work because I'm a football nerd and I love football. We do an opponent scout every week. You'll see that come out on Thursday morning. I try to look at the other team from not necessarily from how the Chiefs are going to match up with them, just how they are, just what they are. Give the fans a little introduction to the team, although we know you guys pretty well at this point. And besides that, I just I cover the team, and follow me on Twitter at Ron_Kopp on Twitter. And I'm looking forward to this game, guys. I really appreciate you having me on. This got me juiced, man. It's got me. Actually, I want to say it's got me a little more nervous than before.
That's right. There you go.
I'm nervous now.
No, man, we really appreciate you having you on, man. And anytime you need somebody from a Bills perspective to give you draft talk or Bills analysts, you can come hit us up, man. We're always ready to talk game. But we really appreciate you and all the things that you do. And for all the fans out there watching the Hoof, man, we want to say, look, man, just whatever you do, watch the game in a safe place, because you could be crying in joy, or you could be crying because the damn heart's been ripped out. So look, I've been telling everybody, if I watch it at home, I want to be alone. I can't watch it with family and friends. Like I already told people, I'm watching it by myself. So do whatever you got to do to be safe. But this is the AFC Championship game right here. I don't care what the Bengals and the Titans do. This is it. So, man, you guys enjoy the rest of your week, man. You are watching and listening to the Hoof Podcast live on the Cover One Network. And we really appreciate everything that you guys do for us. And we out of here. Peace.
Go Bills.